It's hump day.
Hump day!
It's hump day.
Hump day!
Welcome to Hump Day Hangouts. This is episode 113, the episode where my mic goes crazy. So I'm going to pass things off real quick to Bradley. Everybody can go down and say hi. Bradley, if you want to go down the list, because I think
I will. I'll take over because Adam's mic is not cooperating today. So hey everybody, this is Bradley Benner with Semantic Mastery. This is the Hump Day Hangouts episode 113. It's January 4th, 2017. We've got a full house on. Adam, who can't speak. We've got Chris. Hey Chris, how are you?
Doing good. Happy to be here in the new year. We're gonna have a strong year.
That's right.
Yeah, good to have everybody on board.
Hernan, how are you?
Hey guys, hey everyone. It's really good to be here again. Super excited for 2017. We have a lot of stuff going on January, February. It's gonna be a hell of a year, man. So I'm excited.
And last but not least, our mad scientist Marco. Hey, what's up, Marco?
Hey man, what's going on? Trying to deal with this stinking volcano.
Oh yeah, it's acting up.
It's been acting up for since I got here, but the wind is blowing this way, and so I have ash like all over.
Nice.
Yeah,
Volcanic ash. People pay money to like take baths in that shit. You know that?
Yeah, I'm gonna start packaging it, man. So if anybody wants some volcanic ash, let me know. I'll mail it to you.
You sell it by the kilo.
Yeah, right. Kilos, doing kilos, man.
Bricks of volcanic ash. All right, guys. The only announcement we have today is, at least because Adam can't speak and he usually does all the announcements, is we got a webinar next Monday for a really cool video marketing suite or software. It's an online application. It's really like, it's kind of like Sendwire but on steroids. It's like an enterprise level version of Sendwire. And the developers have been working on it for months and asked for feedback and stuff like that from us. And so we're going to have a webinar next Monday. We're going to send out the registration email probably tomorrow. I think Adam said we're going to do that tomorrow. So I just want to give everybody a heads up. If you don't have a powerful video marketing suite yet, or software or tool, might be something you want to check out. If you've already purchased like Video Marketing Blitz, which is Ab's product, we did a promotion with that a few months ago, then you probably don't need to attend this upcoming webinar because you've got pretty much everything already. But for those of you that maybe missed out on that, this is a comparable solution, and it's it's quite powerful. And in fact, I think this application that we're going to be hosting the webinar about on Monday has less of a learning curve than Video Marketing Blitz. So it doesn't have all the features that did, but it has less of a learning curve, and it's really powerful. So anyways, just wanted to give everybody a heads up on that. Is there anything else we need to announce, guys, before we get moving?
I think we're good.
Okay, cool. All right, well, let me grab the screen and we'll get into it. Okay, cool. We got a lot of questions on the page already, so let's try to roll through these. Also, just a quick update, guys. We have anybody that's in IFTTT SEO Academy, the update webinar number 8 is immediately following Hump Day Hangout. So be there or be square, okay? And if you don't know how to get to it, go to the Facebook group and click on the events tab, and there will be a link that will take you over to the Google event page for the update webinar, all right? So Michael's up first. He says, Happy New Year's, guys. I have started using crowdsearch and wanted your opinion on a few ways I'm using it. Number one, I like random browsing on some of the searches, but with random browsing on, I get a lot of instances of 15 to 30 seconds of time on any one page. Example, 7 to 8 page views in 4 minutes. Do you use it? Yeah, sometimes, just to switch up, Michael, you know, the search activity or the browsing activity of the bot or whatever it is. I'd switch it up just so there's some randomization there. Okay. I wouldn't worry so much about that. You know, just turn it on sometimes and sometimes don't. That's all. Number 2, I have a couple campaigns that start at WP or Tumblr that go to the Google Plus post page and then click on a post going to my website. I vary what post is clicked. Good idea? Yes, absolutely, Michael. That's social referral traffic, and that's a great idea. That's one of the more powerful ways of using crowd search, in my opinion. All right. Number 3 is when I see a link show up in Google Search Console, I add that to CrowdSearch. Example, last month I had 5 visits from an unknown Pinterest board show in analytics. I checked it and it is a good board themed for my industry. So I added a campaign for a few searches a month coming from that Pinterest board. Is this a good type of thing to do? Again, yes, Michael, because that's a great idea. And that's actually a really good idea, is to go into Search Console, guys, and take a look at, if any of you that are using CrowdSearch, if you're not, you probably should be, but go into Search Console and take a look at your search queries report and take a look at some of the keywords, the search phrases that have given your site impressions for that maybe you didn't get many clicks for, or if you highlight in Search Console, you know, like the click-through rate, and it'll show impressions, click-through rate, clicks, and position, search position, right? So highlight all of those or check all of those boxes, and then you can go through and take a look at search queries that are giving your site impressions, but maybe your rank position is such that you're not getting any clicks. In other words, maybe your position, like say 14, for example, and so you're not getting any clicks, right? Because whoever goes to page 2 of Google is rare, right? So those would be good terms to actually set up some crowd search campaigns. Be very, very conservative on that stuff though, guys, because if your site's been given impressions for a certain keyword, a search phrase, and it doesn't have any clicks, and there's a history of no clicks, and then all of a sudden you have it doing click-throughs, you know, exact match keyword plus click-through, and you have, you know, a significant number of that, that's going to look unnatural. So I would do it really, really conservatively, okay? And then you can kind of ramp it up. But you should see a little bit of movement from that if you set it up correctly. And you could also do some of the social stuff like what you're talking about, Michael, here, some social referral traffic to that page, to the page that I'm, you know, and the example that I'm talking about, because that'll help too. And that'll be a little bit safer than doing direct click-throughs from search, if that makes sense. So I'd mix it up and kind of add some diversification to that. Good questions though, Michael. Greg's up. I read this one earlier. I'm going to actually let Marco handle this. Guys, I can't give anybody any advice on Twitter for anything. I just don't use it very often at all. So I can't give you any advice on Twitter, Greg, but Marco can probably answer this. The only thing I know is that the few times that I've, not the few times, actually every time I create a new Twitter account for, you know, an IFTTT ring or something like that, or I get one back from our builders, if it's a branded ring, then I will go in and manually tweet and retweet a few times and do some direct messaging and stuff like that on the account to get it out of the sandbox. And I've never had any issues with it, Greg, but I know that other people have. So Marco, can you comment on this question, please?
Yeah, I was just taking a look at it. I'm just wondering if he went into the update section and if he tried the 10 tweet out of the sandbox method that Dr. Gary updated in there, because it works. I mean, I haven't had any problems. And then like you can get sandboxed again if there isn't enough activity, if you don't do anything with the Twitter profile and it's just sitting there, you can get sandboxed again. And every time that I've gone in and done the 10 tweet, I mean, some people do 3 or 4 and they're out of the sandbox. Sometimes it takes 10, but I haven't had it take any more than that. So Greg, go into the advanced section and take a look at the 10 tweets out of the sandbox method.
Very good. Thank you. Yeah, it's like you said, Marco. Generally, for about probably 9 out of 10 of the Twitter accounts that I'll get back from our builders for branded networks, I'll go in and I'll spend 15 to 20 minutes tops on just interacting or engaging with other tweeters or Twitter members or whatever you call them, and it gets me out of the sandbox. I've never had it take more than 15 or 20 minutes, and that's it. So, okay, Assie's up. He says, hi, I was just wondering if there's a way to make stronger SEO with IFTTT besides the tier 1 ring for a website. I'm looking for something stronger. I was doing RSS feed, mixing it to 3 tiers. Is that okay? Sure, that's fine, Assie, as long as you're minimizing your footprint on tier 2 and 3. You certainly can do that. That's not a problem. It's just a matter of making sure that you're hiding your footprint. I believe you're in a foreign market, so you can probably get away with a hell of a lot more than we can here in the US as far as spamminess But I would still try to reduce or minimize your footprint at tier 2 and tier 3 as much as possible. If you follow the training, we talk about how to do that. Besides that, we also did a webinar with Damon Nelson, and he has that new application called RSS Masher. And I've got the link to that here. I'm actually going to drop this on the top of the page. This is the webinar that I did with Damon about, I don't know, 2 weeks ago or something like that. And where we go through how to use RSS Masher, why I advocate or encourage the use of it now for tier 2 blog syndication networks, or second tier blog syndication networks, which before I had, for the last year and a half, close to 2 years, I've been preaching against doing that. But with RSS Masher, it's something that can be done, in my opinion, now safely, and it's manageable using this application. Whereas before, you could still do it with using related content feeds at tier 2, but it was a pain in the ass. It was a lot of additional work to set up, and it was hard to maintain, difficult to maintain. So it just was too cumbersome, and so that's why I had recommended against doing it for so long. But this makes it a hell of a lot more manageable. There's still more work involved. You still have to be careful what you're doing, but this makes it a lot more manageable. And so if you're using this, then you can certainly go out to tier 2 and tier 3 and reduce or minimize footprint issues. And so you should be able to get quite a bit of traction using that. The other thing that you can do is make sure, and let me just put this real quick on the page, webinar. Even if you guys aren't interested in picking up RSS Masher, I'd still go watch that because it's pretty powerful, what you can do with some of the feeds and stuff. And by the way, there is, obviously there's a button that'll pop up when you start watching that webinar with the option to go purchase RSS Masher. Damon's left the R backdoor special offer, pre-launch offer open for us only, or as far as I know, he's leaving it open for us. Let's put it that way until the end of this month. The end of September, excuse me, January. So I would recommend if you're even considering it, that you do it sometime soon before that offer closes. Okay. The other thing that you can do is power up your tier 1 ring. Okay, you can boost that, build links to it. That's something that we recommend at all times, is to always power up that tier 1 ring and continually publish content, because that's what's going to help to theme that network and make it stronger and build more authority. The last line of his comment's pretty cool. It says, by the way, the website I did it with him got to the first and second spot in a very high competition keyword and stuck there like glue. That's awesome. From an IFTTT ring. It's great.
Nice. Just to add to what you were saying, Bradley, if you're looking for something stronger SEO, you can always try vodka. I'm just kidding. But but no, the reality is that IFTTT, whenever, any project that we're starting right now has an IFTTT attached to it, no matter what, because it will equalize your link profile and make it so much natural. So you can actually start building some other kind of links. I'd like to go with links that will actually bring you traffic. That's why we're doing IFTTT, but you can go with PDF links, Web 2.0s, PBNs, if that's something that you want to do. And those will actually bring you results faster, and you will be more protected, and you will have also, several link targets to point to, because you're using IFTTT. So the truth of the matter is that depending on your niche, sometimes IFTTT SEO is enough. Sometimes it isn't, to be completely honest, on super competitive niches. But these are they do not exclude themselves. It's not like we're saying you do IFTTT and don't do anything else. No, by any means whatsoever. This is an addition to whatever any other thing that you're doing. And it's a smart addition because it will actually leverage whatever other thing, any other kind of link building you're doing, PBNs, Web 2.0s, whatever. It will actually help you with that to rank better and faster,
Yeah, now IFTTT SEO is the foundation. It's the starting point. It's rarely the be all end all. I wish it would be. I wish it was that easy. But if it were that easy, then we'd all be out of work, right? Because everybody would be doing it. So, but it is definitely the foundation. It's everything. I always build upon an IFTTT network. I start with that, and just blogging, content marketing, right? And see what kind of results I can get from that. And then I assess it and, you know, determine what else has to be done from there and then add to it going forward. So Mark's up next. He says, hey guys, Happy New Year. Hope you had a wonderful Christmas period. Got a 301 question for you and would love some advice. I don't know if you have heard or used SERP Drive, but it basically does an expired domain crawl for you, like blue chip backlink style crawl. And one search is just $12. So I'm considering doing one, maybe two 301 redirects to a lead gen site. Or any advice or best practice would be awesome. I know this may be mastermind stuff, but even a sly hint would be great. Yeah, I don't have to give the farm away, although I suppose we would let you give it away just this once if you must. So I'm assuming that what you're trying to do is like a double 301 redirect, or what we used to call link laundering. You know, I don't do nearly as much of that as I used to because it's become less effective, which is normally what happens in SEO, right? You find something that works and you exploit the shit out of it, and everybody else does it too, and then it becomes less and less effective over time. That's generally what happens. So about a year and a half ago, about probably between 2 years ago and a year ago, all of last year, basically, not 2016, but 2015, we were doing a lot of that, the double 301 redirect stuff, and it was working really, really well. I noticed it started to not work as well. You can still do it, but what I would recommend doing is I still like having, if you're going to be doing like redirects to boost properties, I would still boost a buffer site prior to, like, instead of doing a double redirect direct to the money site, I would do maybe a double redirect to a buffer page with a do follow link with a keyword anchor back to your site. That's typically how I found to get better results because, it became less effective over time. And one of the ways I was able to increase its effectiveness again was to, instead of going direct to the money site, I would go through a buffer property. I don't know if that makes sense, Mark, because I'm not 100% sure that that's what you're asking about, but does anybody else read this a different way than I do?
Yeah, no, I just want to tell them that the reason why it lost effectiveness is because of the distance graph, right? Mm-hmm. Most of the sites that we were buying were garbage domains that weren't linking to any authority or weren't receiving any links from any authority. They boosted subdomains with garbage, right?
And they were non-relevant most of the time.
Correct. And so that's why they stopped working. But if you can find a really good domain with a good link, now you don't have to 301 that because it's clean. Yeah. So that it would still work, but you don't have to 301 a good website. We were buying spammy Chinese domains and we with high trust flow, high domain authority. We don't even look at those metrics anymore. And we would just double 301 and launder them, and they were working really well until Google came up with the distance graph. Once that started being applied, then it lost effectiveness, of course, because of the link quality that was coming into those websites and out. It wasn't related to anything that was trusted or authoritative or that was in any way related to the niche that we were working in, which is what we're looking for now. So if you can do those three things, right? If you can find something that has good quality links from at least one trusted source, then it's a really good domain to apply, but you don't have to double 301 that, again, because it's clean.
Yeah. And the other thing is, and then that's in part why I started going to a buffer site instead, because you can inject relevancy into that stream, into that link stream through the buffer site. So in other words, you could still use, and now I haven't done this in probably 8 months at least, since the last time I set one of these up. But if you could still use some of those Chinese like spammy domains that just had a shit ton of juice coming into them, right? A bunch of link juice coming in because they had thousands or hundreds of thousands of backlinks built to them, but totally spammy, right? You could still use those in a link laundering stream, but I would instead of going direct to the money site, which we used to do, or to a subdomain, now I go to a buffer site, because a buffer site I could put a relevant article, right? So content that's relevant, and then use an anchor text link so that I can inject relevancy at that point into that link stream. But again, I would shy away from doing that now, because really all we're looking for now is relevancy, more so than metrics or anything else. It's more about relevancy. So I would rather buy a domain, an expired domain that has relevancy, but only a couple links, and maybe not even the greatest metrics, but they're relevant backlinks to that domain relevant to the topic in which I'm going to be using to link to. If that makes sense. I'd rather buy those domains than go out and buy a domain that's got incredibly good metrics or high metrics, but is non-relevant, unless they're incredibly good metrics. If that makes sense. And even so, I would still push that to a buffer site where I can inject relevancy. So, but yeah, that's kind of more like mastermind stuff, Mark. We can get into it a hell of a lot deeper if you want to join us there. So, Virginia Surgeon says, I saw on RYS Speed that you were adding a description to each Google Doc, but G has changed the look of that site again. I searched online for an hour on how to do it. It looks like G removed that feature. Am I wrong? Again, thanks, Toby. As far as I know, Toby, you can still add information to GDocs. He's talking about metadata, Marco.
Yeah, and I just checked. I dropped the whole Wikipedia page in the description. It's still spammylicious.
Yep, still spammylicious. In fact, you could probably find it's the info button on the file itself. Correct? I don't have it here, so I'd have to actually look at a doc.
That's all it is.
Yep.
It's a nice big icon on the top right.
Yeah, it's just an eye icon for info. You click on that and you'll open it. It pops out from the right side, like the sidebar area, and then you can paste in metadata. You
have two options, right? You have details and activity.
Yep.
And so you want to click on details instead of activity.
And spam the ever-living hell out of it.
Yeah, do some lovely stuff to that.
It's like a spam bucket. It's awesome. Paul says, hi, guys. I'm back from my trip to the Philippines and I have a lot to catch up on. Glad to have you back, Paul. He says, first, I want to comment on RSS Masher. I got the program, put it into action. It's working great on all of my tier 2 networks. I like it, and time will tell how it performs producing traffic and ranking. That's great, Paul. That's awesome. I'm glad it's working for you. My question is on RYS again. I've had the best success with the service with my clients, and now I want to use it on my own sites. I am building out near to me sites. Okay. I have one site that will pay $141 per click when I get it ranked without the Google verified business pages for each one, without NAP, etc. How can I use and incorporate RYS to help get those sites ranked? And a follow-up question, after I get the stacks back, what can I do with the stacks to increase the rankings and visibility? Happy New Year's to everyone. Paul, yeah, well, first of all, obviously, I've been using RYS or Drive Stacks for local mainly, but we've got we actually did another test recently within the last couple of weeks, Marco and I, that yesterday is ranking on page 1 for a near me term that gets like 8,800 searches per month. And this is a Drive file with 0 backlinks, and it's ranked on page 1, I think position 6. For an 8,800 search term. It's a near me term, a near me phrase, search phrase. It gets 8,800 searches per month on average. And we're number 6 with 0 backlinks for a Drive file. It's freaking awesome. So
with 0 nothing, because we did
0 anything. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's just a Drive file that was created to the same specifications that we teach in RYS Academy. And anyways, so yeah, you can use it for local. That's typically how I've been using it, because majority of the work that I do is local. But you can boost anything with Drive Stacks, guys. Anything, a video, a press release, a website, organic or local. It doesn't, national or local. It doesn't matter whether you're trying to rank in the Maps pack or organically. So it's just you build links back to your website, inner pages, silo pages. Using the Drive Stack, and then obviously the sites.google.com site as well. And then how do you boost the power of those? Well, you can build links to them. Remember, those are all Drive. They're Google domains, essentially. Everything's on the Google domain, so you can use that to your advantage and build links to the Drive Stacks, right? Because you're letting Google's domain actually filter that all that spam out. So you're basically just boosting it. And it doesn't take much really to get some pretty good results with the Drive files just by throwing some links at them. Marco, what else would you suggest?
No, I think that we're, from what we've seen for near me, it's so simple that you just throw it up and it's going to pretty much rank.
Yeah.
And then just by adding our own link building service, you go through us and order. When you order the stack, order the link building. it'll get dripped out anyway, right? It doesn't get hammered all at once, and that should be enough. But I mean, there's other things that he could do with it. He could buy
crowd search,
a couple of crowd search, PBNs. Yeah. There's a bunch of things that you can do if it doesn't work. You could buy a couple of domains with blue chip backlinks and push them into the stack and out to wherever you want it to go. But the stuff inside the stack ranks anyway.
That's right. And that's the thing. Think about this, Paul. You can take a goo.gl short URL, right? And link from inside a drives file to your money site, and then set up like crowd search, for example, some search CT spam, right? Click through spam campaigns to search for the drive files. Put a hashtag or something in the file and use that as part of the search phrase, so that you can crowd search will quickly identify the file and click on it, and then click your goo.gl short URL that goes back that goes to your landing page or your website, if that makes sense. Because what you're doing is you're with the goo.gl short URL, you're injecting Google Analytics into the link, like right into the link stream. So you're allowing Google to see where traffic's coming from and activity. And so you can do that with the drive files, so that you're basically telling Google, hey, I found this drive file in search results and clicked on it through to the money site or to this website over here. And those are strong ranking signals. Okay, so that's something that you could do as well. Very powerful. And that'll help your drive files to rank too, by the way. All right. This person's next. Hi, guys. I have a question about content curation. Is it okay to give opinion on non-English site in local language and English attribution? I imagine so. I'll let Marco and Hernan comment on that, but I can't imagine why that would be a problem.
I defer to Hernan on this one because I don't know.
Yeah, that's actually a good question. Let me check it out, because
wow. This guy's the winner. We got to give him a prize for stumping us.
Yeah, right. It hasn't happened before. A non-English site in local language and English attribution. But I'm not fully understanding the question. Like, hold on. I have a question about content.
Okay, so he wants to give his opinion, but it's a non-English site in whatever his local language is. But he wants to add English attribution. Is that okay?
Oh, yeah. Okay, yeah, I get it now. Okay, so what you were doing would be to grab English news, right, and put your opinion, and then back to the English to the English side. Is that what he's saying? Like linking back to the English? So. Okay. So. Well, to be honest, I haven't do it. Like I haven't done it before, because I think that you should have plenty of information and news on your native language. You know, that's my opinion, anyways.
I can't imagine if it's the same topic though. I can't imagine. I don't know. Maybe I've never tested it either. So this is purely based on assumption, or this is purely speculation. But I can't imagine, as long as it's the same topic, I imagine Google understands that it's topically relevant, even if it's different languages, right?
Well, yes and not, because what I found out is that even if you're, well, I mean, the reality is that that's why doing SEO in other languages is so easy, because the grammar and the syntax and everything that has to do with language recognition in English is so advanced that, you know, when you are a company like Google, for example, and you need to invest your resources and your people, of course you will invest it in English, you know, and you will need like grammar people and language, you know, whatever. So that's why doing SEO in Spanish or French or German, whatever, it's so much easier, because Google hasn't catch up, you know, to that point where he can easily recognize those kind of patterns. But again, I wouldn't know why would you want to put some like foreign, because the reality with curation is like copy and pasting, you know, some sort of the article of some part of the article, like a paragraph. You know, if you're doing that, that will have to be in English, for example. And let's say that you're building a website in Spanish, you will have pieces of English content. And, you know, it's kind of weird for the tier one, or it's even kind of weird for the visitor. You know what I mean? If I land into a Spanish website and it has like little snippets of English, I'm just thinking this guy, you know, is translating poorly or whatever. So
Yeah.
it's kind of weird from the visitor point of view. So if you cannot find any kind of news, maybe you're in a really specific niche. I don't know. I haven't done it, you know. So I can advise. I can only advise on the perspective of somebody that lands into that lands on a website and, you know, happens to find content in various languages. You know, that would be my only advice.
Yeah, the only, I mean, I would just assume it's probably he's having trouble finding whatever particular topic he's curating about, finding content in, I guess, his native language, and that's why he's asking about that. And from a strictly SEO standpoint, again, us based purely on speculation, but I would imagine that it would still be, it would still work. But from what Mark or Hernan's saying, I would totally agree. It would look weird for any visitor. You know what I mean? So like I was talking on a purely technical basis, it may still work. You'd have to test it, to be honest with me, with you. But from a user or a visitor standpoint, it just really wouldn't make sense. So I agree with you. Probably, I would just test it. I mean, guys, we don't have all the answers all the time, unfortunately. Generally, if we don't have an answer, what we do is go set up a test, which is something that you can do as well. If we have the answer, we'll share it. But if we don't, then we generally will set up a test, and that's something that you guys can do as well, and we encourage that.
The advice that I would give him is that if you're not doing English, it's not really that complicated, because as Hernan said, Google will invest resources in where most of the money is, which is English language, and then where it's really highly spammed. And so, you know, I don't know what language he's working in or what niche or whatever, but I would say, man, don't even sweat it.
Yeah.
IFTTT. Oh crap! I don't know if I should give this away. I'm getting 40 to 50,000 visitors a month on a website where all I do is copy paste a Wikipedia page, but I push it through Google Translate, because if Google says that this is the proper translation, then it should work regardless whether it's legible to a human being. And so I'll take the page and I'll translate it to the foreign language that I'm targeting, and I'll just use the Wikipedia translation, and it works like gangbusters, man. I don't know. I'm at about 40,000 visitors a month just from that. Literally, copy paste into Google Translate. Nice. That's how easy it is in foreign language. I see
an application in the works, a software app, the Google Translate plugin or something, you know, that just automatically copies in foreign language niches. That would work well. Brian's up next. He says, do you guys do any video spinning? Any recommendations on a good spinner? Saw a webinar where someone had 30 new videos on one channel and it helped rank videos in Google. I'm not sure what that last part means, Brian, but I mean, the video spinning is typically something that is included if you have a video marketing suite of tools. Like, for example, we just mentioned Video Marketing Blitz at the beginning of this webinar, which is Ab's product. There's a spinner in there. You can buy standalone spinners. Basically, video spinning, the way that I understand it, is just taking a single video file and making multiple variations of that file. It doesn't really change the actual content of the video much. It just changes the file type, or maybe it'll swap, you know, still frames at the beginning and at the end out, and change the duration and change the file type and that kind of stuff, so that it gives to YouTube unique versions of the video. It's a way to where you can take the same video and create dozens of copies of that video and upload them to the same channel without YouTube algorithmically detecting that they're duplicates. However, with any type of spam tactic like that, or spam strategy, which is what that is, if a manual reviewer were to come look at it, they're going to terminate the channel for spam. There's just no question. And that's why I'll do that kind of stuff. You know, spin videos and spam and stuff like that, but only with specific channels that are designated for that, right? I don't ever do any kind of spun videos crap on money channels anymore, because I've had channels terminated for that stuff. Which is crazy, because it's hit or miss. I mean, I've got channels out there that I've got a channel that that's got like 968 videos on it that are all basically spun videos, and they're all shitty videos, all complete spam. And that channel's still up and still generating leads now, which is unbelievable, because it's been up for like 3 years. I don't know why it hasn't been terminated yet. But anyways, Most video marketing suites are going to have a spinner in them. You can buy standalone spinners. I don't recommend any of them because or the only ones that I would recommend are the ones that come with another suite of tools already. For example, Video Marketing Blitz, MegaRay, the product that we're going to be doing a webinar on Monday. I believe it has a spinner in there as well. And most of the more advanced tools will have that included already. Okay. I've tested some of the standalone video spinners in the past, like years ago, and I wasn't real happy with any of them. The quality of the videos usually came out pretty poor. They're probably better now. I'm sure they are. But again, I don't really do a whole lot of spam stuff in YouTube anymore because it's less and less effective. You know, 2 years ago, you could get away with a bunch of, even a year ago, you could get away with still create a business basically out of spamming YouTube all the time. What I found now is that people are becoming more used to ignoring spam videos, and just skipping over them. And so they don't convert. If you're doing spam stuff in YouTube specifically for SEO purposes, then fine, spam away. Spam until your heart's content. But I wouldn't recommend doing spam stuff in YouTube anymore for like traffic generation or for actual conversions. To me, it's just based on my own campaigns. It really has plummeted the effectiveness. Conversions just suck whenever you do spam stuff. For SEO purposes, it works fine. Okay. And usually spun videos, guys, that for example, if you have like a nice quality video and you want to target, 20 different keywords with the same video, you would use a spinner for something like that. But I wouldn't put all those spun videos so that you target 20 different keywords on the same channel. Or if you are going to put it on the same channel, don't ever do that on your money channel. Do it on a separate channel that's specifically used for spam purposes only, so that you protect your money channel. All right, Ivan's up. He says, Happy New Year, guys. Last week I created and published a one-page Google site with the new interface, with the Google Map, Google Presentation, YouTube OK. He says, now I want to create another Google site with the old Google site with the same content but using iframes. I watched the videos from RYS Academy. These two sites are companion sites from my main site. 2 questions. Is it a good idea to add these 2 sites in my search console for them to be crawled faster? What about duplicate content? Okay, first of all, I wouldn't add both of them in the search console and not in the same account. I would add them into 2 different accounts. So like create a persona account, which you probably already have anyways, and put one in one search console account, one in the other. That way they're both not the same site sitting in the same search console account. If that makes sense. That's what I would do. You can probably get away with it. It probably wouldn't cause you any problems, but I would still separate them. Okay. About duplicate content only exists on the same domain. If you have 2 pages on the same domain on a site, on your site, that have the exact same content, that's duplicate content. 2 pages with the same content on different domains is not duplicate content. Okay. And that's that's a myth that has been that has gone through our industry for years now, guys. And if that were the case, press releases would tank everybody's site every time someone used a press release. Social media posts would tank people's sites. So don't worry about the duplicate content issue, unless it's on the same domain. Ethan, hey guys, is utilizing RSS feeds from high authority sites, aka industry leaders, to populate your money sites with syndicated content on a regular basis an effective way to raise the authority of it? I wouldn't do that, Ethan, not automatically. I don't like publishing other people's content on a money site, period, unless it's been in a curated post, because then we're citing other people's content, but the post still originates from our blog, if that makes sense, from the money site blog. I wouldn't automatically post content to a money site from RSS feeds, from even authority feeds. I wouldn't do it because unless you're monitoring it on a daily basis, there could be some stuff that comes through that you don't want on your site. Number one. Also, I just wouldn't do it. I've never done that. As far as we use other people's content all the time on money sites, but we do it based upon curation, the strategies that we teach in Content Kingpin. Okay. And that's the proper way to do it, so that we're following the DMCA, Digital Millennium Copyright Act guidelines, as far as how when we're referencing or citing other people's content, we follow all those rules, right? So that the content comes out the way that Google likes it. So would you guys have any comment on that? Hernan, you do a lot of that stuff for PBNs, but not what about money sites?
No, money sites hardly ever, to be completely honest. It's anything and everything that I do for money sites is completely manual. You know, it's like I try not to risk it. For PBNs, you can, like, if you do it on a how would you call it, on a sidebar, for example, or if you can even have these feeds that update themselves, like not RSS feeds, but for example Twitter feeds based on a hashtag. Yeah. Or Pinterest boards based on, you know, whatever a category. Those, if you want to put those on your money site, that's probably better, because those are I would say officially released by, for example, Google or Twitter, you know. And if you have a finance website, you want to, I don't know, show all the tweets from finance blogs, whatever, that could work. But in terms of RSS, etc., I only do it for PBNs, but not for money sites. No.
Yeah, and there's plugins that you can use, Ethan, that will, like, for example, you can add RSS feeds, and it will give like a little like news widget and that you can add to the sidebar or a footer of your site that will update with the headlines of that RSS feed, but it won't be actually populating your blog with content. In other words, you can set it up so that it's dynamically updated, and you can set it up to, you know, with filters and things like that, or go hand select the feeds so that it's related content, but the only thing that shows is the headline, and it's a clickable link that will go off site over to the content source. But that's what I would do. I mean, and I've done that. I've done that on money sites. Typically, that's stuff that I would do for PBNs and not so much for money sites. But you can still do that for money sites. That's something that I would say is okay. Because then you're not actually publishing content to your blog that's from other sources. You're just showing headlines in a widget, like a sidebar or a footer widget, which again, that activity is dynamically updated. It will still keep the bots crawling your site, but it won't be republished content that's just straight copied content from somebody else's site, if that makes sense. Because with curation, you want to add commentary, because then, guys, remember, with a curated piece of content, it becomes an original piece of content, because you're curating multiple sources of content into one piece of content, and you're adding commentary, you're injecting opinion, and that in itself makes a unique piece of content. Does that make sense? But when you're just taking a straight 100% republished post from somebody else's site and pasting it on your money site, then it's zero original content, right? It's copied content that you're just republishing. And so I just wouldn't do it, not for money sites. Okay. I agree with you on some of this stuff, but that's why, Ethan, my suggestion is to hire a virtual assistant. If you haven't gone through Content Kingpin, our course, it's specifically set up for how to train a virtual assistant to do curating for you. And a curator can curate posts on a money site. I'll pay curators, you know, a good curator for money sites. It just depends, anywhere between $5 to $15 per post. But it really just depends on what it is that they're doing and what the money site's about. But $5 to $15 per post for money site curating. I mean, then they're top quality posts, guys, top quality posts. Okay. And by the way, if you hire somebody and pay them on an hourly basis, I like to pay on a per post basis, but like an hourly basis, you can hire a good curator from the Philippines and pay him $5 an hour, and you can get 3 good curated posts out of about an hour and 20 minutes, an hour and a half. Let's say an hour and a half. So for $7.50, you can get 3 really good curated posts. That makes sense. Okay. For PBN curated posts, you can get posts done 3 per hour. And you can pay $4 to $5 an hour for VAs to do that. So that ends up being like, you know, $2 per post, $1.50, $2 per post. And that content's a hell of a lot better than buying that shit content from content farms that's just spun garbage. Okay. All right, Ethan's up next. Hey, again, I have another question, this time about on-page optimization. For years, I was told the best strategy is to try to rank for a topic rather than just a few keywords. However, I'm frequently seeing high-ranking pages in the SERPs that are very targeted for just a few keywords, especially in the URL structure. More specifically, I'm noticing sites with the exact match of the main keyword in the URL structure ranking very well. For example, when searching the keyword small business loans, sites with the URL structure example.com small business loans. How do you guys structure your URLs? Do you only put the main keyword you're targeting in there, or do you add in additional relevant keywords? Okay, we've talked about this a lot on Hump Day Hangouts and all the other webinars that we do, but the way that it has been for the last few years has been the four main things that the bots look at when they come to crawl the page, Googlebot especially, is the SEO title, the URL, the page title, which is the H1 tag, and then the meta description. Those are the first four things. They're in the header, guys. So Google looks at those first. And so typically I will only put the exact match keyword in the SEO title. That's the meta title, right? That shows in the search results. That's where I put it. That is the most effective place to put an exact match keyword. And one of our members, Dr. Gary, you know, one of the co-founders of RYS Academy, he recently did some tests on that to prove that as well, that the SEO title is still the most important place to have the exact match keyword. Okay, I don't typically put the exact match keyword in any more than one location out of those four, right? I'll use variations for the URL, the H1, and the meta description. I'll use, you know, related keyword phrases, co-occurring keyword phrases, but I typically will only put the exact match keyword in the SEO title. The URL will usually be a truncated or succinct version of it, and because unless it's an exact match domain, in which case it would already be in the URL. But I typically don't use exact match domains anymore either. Okay. Again, I think it's better, guys. You don't have to hit Google over the head with keywords anymore because of RankBrain. It understands, and Hummingbird, it understands semantic relationships between words a hell of a lot better. So if you add the SEO title, the exact match keyword in the SEO title, you're telling Google, hey, that's what this page is about. So then you can basically sprinkle throughout the rest of the content, or in those other three locations, the URL, page title or H1 title, and in the meta description, variations of that keyword to kind of reinforce it. That's how I do it, Ethan. And the reason I say that is because it's been working for me for about the last two and a half years really well. And I don't see how anyone, if you're only putting the exact match keyword in one of those four locations, how could you ever get penalized for on-page SEO for over optimization, if that makes sense? You can still get penalized for off-page shit, no doubt. But how could your page ever be penalized with a panda penalty if you're only put the exact match keyword in one location out of those four? I mean, you still have it in the content, but you don't need to hit Google over the head with, you know, keyword density doesn't need to be near as high as it used to be either, right? Wow, we've had a ton of questions and we still got a lot to go through, so we're gonna keep rolling. You guys, anybody want to comment on that, or was that good enough?
No, I think you nailed it, Bradley. Whatever I would say is just repeating what you were saying. So.
Jamie's up. Hey, Jamie. She says, hi, I have a video in a fairly competitive niche that I can't seem to push on the page one. It bounces between 11 and 14 and seems like the last push is the toughest. I have my link wheel. I ordered embeds and links on SERPs. I've created some YouTube link wheels with about 300 YouTube links to the video. I've run some PBN and Web 2s to the video. By the way, I have keyword optimized both the video and the channel. I have crowdsearch running 7 views per month to it. Any thoughts on what else I can do to push it over the top? Thanks. Okay, number one for videos, you can go a lot more aggressive with views if you're using crowdsearch. Second of all, I would set up some referral traffic campaigns using crowdsearch to the video, particularly through a goo.gl short link so that you can inject analytics into that link stream, which is what I talked about earlier in this Hump Day Hangout. Okay, the other thing is, remember, Jamie, there are just some keyword phrases that Google will damn near refuse to rank a video for on page one. That is the case, guys. It didn't used to be, but it is the case now. There are categories of searches now, and there are certain search phrases that are just not friendly to videos because it doesn't make sense. Now, I don't know that that's the case with you, Jamie, but it sounds like it, because usually when you have a video that you can get that bounces between like 11 and 14, and I've seen that happen myself many, many times, it's because it's one of those keyword phrases that Google just doesn't want to put a video on page one. And a lot of the times, for example, real estate terms, a lot of like real estate, like lead gen terms for, not for like house listings, but for like realtors in cities and stuff like that. Those are, or real estate agent plus city name and stuff like that. Those are really tough terms to rank videos for. And I've fought like tooth and nail to get them to rank on page one before. And typically once I get them to page one, they don't stick anyways. They'll bounce right back after just a few days to page two, no matter what. So I've learned to just not target those types of keywords when I have that much of a difficulty ranking it. Then I look for other variations of the keyword that I can rank. Okay.
I would also ask her, has she ever just left it alone? Has she ever just let it sit? Because it seems like she's been doing a whole bunch of stuff to it. Has she ever just let it sit for, I don't know, 6, 8 weeks and see what happens?
So boost your crowd search views. And the other thing, Jamie, you can do is set up some YouTube ads. Set up an AdWords campaign. Give it $1 or $1 a day budget. That's $30 a month, or $2 a day, $60 a month, right? And set up some, video ad campaigns, because that oftentimes will give that last push that it needs to get to page 1. I've experienced that many times over the last 2 years. That's kind of like one of the tricks I keep up my sleeve for whenever SEO just isn't working for a particular video, is you set up, and I talked about this, I think, last Hump Day Hangout, because Brian Lichtig, I remember he had the question specifically about that. But if you set up, like if it's local, I don't know that it's local, but if it is local, you can set up targeting with the geographic, location targeting, to where you don't even have to get keywords specific on it, because all you're looking to do is get clicks to the video from local IPs. And so you can set up a very broad targeting campaign that's just mainly targeted by geographic location. For example, you can use affinity audience targeting or topic targeting. You don't even need to use keyword targeting. Just use topic or affinity audience targeting. And set up a local campaign set to geographic location. If it's a local video, which I'm assuming it is, but maybe it's not. If it's a national thing, well, then I would still set, by country, right? So target US, but then I would go a little bit more narrow in my my other targeting options. But for local, go broad in your audience targeting, but specific in your geographic targeting, and just start getting local IP clicks to that video. It's going to make a huge difference. That's something that can't really do with crowd search. You can to a point, but not like you can when you're paying Google. Remember, when you're paying AdWords when you're using YouTube ads, you're paying Google for engagement, right? You're paying Google for engagement signals, and they'll provide them to you. All right. We got one more, and we're going to have to wrap it up.
Yeah, just to add, Bradley, real quick. I don't know if you have even tested Video Powerhouse, Jamie, for your video. If you haven't, and if you're interested in testing it, just write us a support ticket, because maybe we can make a case study of sorts, and we can get you sorted out with Video Powerhouse. So this would actually be a good case study. So just write us to support@semanticmastery.com. Just hit us up, and maybe we can help you with Video Powerhouse and turning this into a potential case study, if that's something that you want to do too.
Yeah. Okay, Lori's up, and then we got to wrap it up, guys. The IFTTT SEO update webinar starts in about 8 minutes. So this will be the last one. Lori says, Happy New Year to everyone. I'm creating a tier 1 branded ring for a new client. When I set up the YouTube channel, it let me choose use business or other name to create a G+ page. However, when I set up a buffer account and tried to connect that page, it said there wasn't one, but click here to create one. So I did that, but now when I click my accounts, it shows I have 2 branded pages. Any thoughts? Is it bad to have 2 branded pages? If so, which one should I link other accounts to? I'm using a persona name behind the accounts, but using the business brand for logo, cover pictures, etc. Well, Lori, what I would do, I'm not sure why Buffer gave you an issue. Sometimes when that kind of stuff happens, it can be like a cache issue with your browser. I know that sounds weird, but it oftentimes some weird shit can happen with that. So like in that case, maybe I would have tried to close that browser down, you run CCleaner, clear cache and cookies, all of that, and then log back, open the browser, log back into Buffer and that Google account and try a second time. I know that's past where you're at now anyways, but what I'm saying is that's what I would have done initially instead of creating a new page when you had already created a page, right? Because now you've got 2 pages. Yeah, I would delete one of those pages, which you can do as the page owner. You can go into the settings, and if you scroll all the way down to the bottom, it'll say delete page, and I would delete the duplicate page. Keep the one that is connected to Buffer already, if unless you've already got your IFTTT network built and the other page has already been connected throughout all of those properties, in which case I would delete the one that Buffer created, and then I would try again. Because I just connected a Google Plus page to a Buffer account today, in fact, because I was preparing for the IFTTT SEO update webinar. Okay, so I don't know why. It was probably just some weird browser cache issue. I would have closed out, cleared cache and cookies, and tried again. And then, like I said, I would delete the page that was created through that process and keep the one that you had already created that should probably already be interlinked to all the other properties. Otherwise, you're going to have to go back and edit all those other properties. Okay, but yeah, just go through, find that one, which one is the duplicate, and then go to the settings as the page owner, go to the settings, scroll all the way down to the bottom, and there will be a delete page button. Okay. Okay, guys, sorry I didn't get to all the questions. Oh, look at that. Awesome. Sorry, guys. Apparently, we had a lot of questions today. Everybody's looking to get busy in 2017, apparently. So glad everybody's here. IFTTT SEO update webinar starts in about 5 minutes. We will see you guys then. Otherwise, we'll see you next week. Thanks, everyone.
Bye-bye, guys.
Bye, everybody.